How's it going, everyone? It's me, Alone, back again with another Fallout 76 video. So at the beginning of this video, I want to be talking about a few things which have changed with my YouTube channel, which is kind of why I'm holding my mic in my hand right now. So if you don't care about that, feel free to skip ahead to the content of this video, where we'll be comparing the Secret Service armor and the T-65 power armor in Fallout 76 using the timestamps below. So I always include timestamps. You can always skip ahead in my videos to the content that you want to watch. But in the meantime, I'll be talking about some things that I've done to my setup and my YouTube videos moving forward. So, if you can't tell, if you click the little gear icon in YouTube at the moment, you'll now see a new option with my videos. I now have 1440p enabled on my videos, or 2K. Previously, I just had 1080p, and I had that for a very long time, but I thought, look, I have a 4K camera in front of me, I just don't have a 4K monitor to be able to capture 4K gameplay. But anyways, I still wanted to utilize the higher resolution of both the gameplay that I had and also the camera that I have. And that's why everything is going to be now produced and uploaded in 2K or 1440p. Eventually, I am going to go to 4K. It's just a matter of me getting a new monitor, but I want to make sure that my editing software and my workflow is all nice with 2K before I bump it up to 4K, because it is fairly onerous, and it might require an upgrade to my PC maybe down the track, but I'm not so fussed about it. I think 2K is good enough for now, especially because a lot of phones out there are capping out at 1440p or roughly around that. So anyways, I hope you enjoy the higher quality. It should be good for those of you that can utilize it, but of course you can keep using 1080p if you'd like. Second of all, I'm holding my mic in my hand right now. This is a Blue Yeti. This is something that I've used for a very, very, very long time. Like, I can't even remember, man. It's been like 3-4 years, maybe more. I don't know. But this has been the microphone that I've been using on my YouTube channel for ages, and it served me well. Like, the quality of this microphone for what it is, being a plug-and-play USB microphone, really good. It's like, if you want to get into streaming or YouTube and you don't have a lot of money, the Blue Yeti is a really, really solid choice. The price starts to get up there a little bit when you have to add a shock mount and a boom arm and all that, but that's just kind of incidental to the process if you want to do it and not hold your mic in your hand like I am right now, or use the default stand. So this is the mic that I've been using for ages, but because of like work-related reasons, because of me streaming onto the Bethesda channels more, and we have a few more projects going on, I recently upgraded my microphone. I now have a brand new microphone, which I'm going to be showing you in a second, because I want to show you the comparisons between this and the one that I'm upgrading to, which is also why there's no background music right now, so you can really hear the differences. And it's not like mind-blowing, because the Blue Yeti is a really solid microphone in my opinion, but I think it's a really solid upgrade for what I am doing. And again, it's because of work reasons, but because this is my setup and this is where I do everything and work from, obviously I'll be recording here and using that microphone as well because it is better. So, say goodbye to the Blue Yeti. Yes, it served me well, but it's time to show you the brand new microphone. Alrighty, here it is. This is the brand new microphone that I'll be using on my YouTube channel moving forward. Specifically, it's a Rode Procaster, which is an XLR dynamic microphone that's used in a lot of podcast and broadcast scenarios. And I'm really happy with the result that I have, just, upgrading from the Blue Yeti to this. For me, to my ears, it's a serious upgrade. My voice just sounds more natural. I don't have to do as much post-processing as well. It also rejects outside noises way better than the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti seems to pick up things from halfway across my apartment building, but this is way better. Even when I'm typing here, you can't really pick up the noises because it's so good in its focus and in how it captures audio. And this is a microphone that Rode actually sent to me, because Rode, funnily enough, is an Australian company, one of the best microphone manufacturers in the world, and they also do other stuff, but they are an Australian company local here, so they sent me one in addition to some other stuff. This is the Rode PSA 1 boom arm, but I've been using this on my own with my own money for a while. But they also sent me like an audio interface, some XLR cables, and myself, I also purchased a Cloud Lifter CL1, which is essentially something that boosts the gain on a microphone like this that really needs a lot of gain to be able to work and to be able to be heard properly. But yeah, very happy with this microphone. I think it sounds awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but get used to it, because this is the microphone that I'll be using moving forward in all of my YouTube videos. But with all that out of the way, let's finally get to the content of this video. Alrighty, let's do it. Let's compare two of the best armor sets right now in Fallout 76, and those are the T-65 power armor and the Secret Service armor. These are, of course, 2 armor sets that were introduced in Wastelanders like several months back. I've lost all concept of time, so I don't remember when it was released. It was a while ago, right? And the way that you purchase them or get them is by grinding gold bullion after you finish the Wastelanders story, and then buying them off of Regs, who is located in Vault 79. I have several videos about how you do that. Just find them on my channel. But the point is, that's how you get them, right? And naturally, because they are so resource intensive in terms of like the amount of gold bullion that you need, people naturally wonder which one they should focus on first. I do recommend you just focus on one, because if you want to get all of the pieces of the armor itself, and then the mods that you want and the materials that you want and all that kind of stuff, it's going to take you a while. It's going to take you weeks, maybe months, depending on what you want to get exactly and how quick you do it. So I do suggest just focusing on one. And in this video, I want to explain why I think, one armor is better than the other. And I'll take into a number of factors like your potential build, what you want to do in the game, all that kind of stuff. And we're just going to compare and see which is the best armor to be using in the game, just depending on your character. I like to use both. Like I've used both of these armor sets extensively in the game for tons of hours. So I have my preferences. Like I like one in one scenario and another in another scenario. It just really depends, to be honest, and I'll go into that. But hopefully this video is helpful for you. If you have any other questions, just let me know in the comments below. But with all that out of the way, let's get to it. Which is the better armor in Fallout 76? The T-65 power armor or the Secret Service armor? Alrighty, so first up we have the T-65 power armor. This, comparative to all the other power armors in the game, is in my opinion the best. It has the best damage resistance, it has the best energy resistance, and its radiation resistance, while not as good as the Strangler Heart radiation resistance, it's still very, very good. It's absolutely no slouch. So those stats on their own should be a good enough reason for you to pick up the T-65 power armor. And also keep in mind that power armor has an inherent damage protection as well. That's the simplest way of explaining it. So this power armor is very, very good. It's going to get you through most scenarios. You're not invincible, mind you, of course, but it's very good for most situations. So in terms of those base resistances, I can show you mine. Just bear in mind though that my resistances are affected by like perk cards and mutations and stuff like that. But the base resistances for damage is 565, for energy it's 470, and for radiation it's 470. So my radiation right now is 470, but my DR, my ER are a little bit higher, again, because of those perk cards and whatnot. So this is like very good. When I play with T-65 power armor, and I will show you gameplay in a second, I feel very protected. I feel more protected than I do when it comes to Secret Service armor. And I'll explain it in a second. Even though Secret Service armor can get you more damage resistance, in terms of energy resistance in particular, I feel way more protected in the T-65 power armor. And again, I'm going to explain that. And then there are, of course, mods that you can get for the T-65. I think the best for the legs, one of them anyways, is probably calibrated shocks, which gives you more carry weight. Emergency protocols is amazing when it comes to your chest, if you're a blooded user, that is. I'm not going to go into full detail for all the mods. The arms are very much suited if you're a melee user, not really for anything else, so I don't have any mods for it. So that is one downside. And of course, you can actually have a mod for the helmet, and I use the targeting HUD, which is nice. It highlights enemies a little bit better. So I really do like the T-65 power armor, but I'm going to say this. You should probably only be using the T-65 power armor, and in fact, power armor in the game generally, if you are a heavy guns user. Like, heavy guns users are going to find the most benefit of jumping into power armor and using their heavy guns. And the specific reason, there's one perk card that justifies that, and that is stabilized. So when you have stabilized maxed out in power armor, your heavy guns gain excellent accuracy, which is of huge benefit, especially because heavy guns can be a little bit unwieldy sometimes, and you ignore 45% of armor. This is why it's so good. This is why I always use the T-65 when I'm versing the Scorched Beast Queen, because I do more damage against her because of stabilized, because my heavy guns, and because I'm in power armor. It just works together very, very well. And of course, I'm still benefiting from really great inherent damage protection and also all those resistances there. So I really like the T-65, but again, you should be using it if you're a heavy guns user. if you're not a heavy guns user, I think there are less reasons for you to use this power armor. Of course, one of the benefits is that you can have very good protection and also be in a nuke zone quite nicely. So it does differ from the Chinese stealth suit, for instance. So that's why I like power armor. I tend to not be in nuke zones as much anymore nowadays, and if you're farming for flux, you can find better radiation resistance with other armors, especially if you're not getting into battles. But that's also another benefit when it comes to the T-65. Also as well, I find that the energy resistance, which is what I have right now, is 532, is really good in the T-65. Like it's a nice protection against your super mutants, especially that use laser rifles and whatnot, and robots that use laser attacks. It's generally what I find the energy resistance in T-65 to be better than the Secret Service. But we are going to step out of the T-65 now, and I'll explain Secret Service a little bit more. So the reason why people love normal armor in the game is because there's so many things that you can do with it. Like with normal armor, as you can see, I now have a backpack that has its own stats. I have legendary pieces of armor that give me even more stats and more abilities, essentially. It's just, there's so many different things when it comes to regular armor, which is why people love it so much. When it comes to my armor, what I should do first up is actually change my build. So I'm going to get rid of Rejuvenated and Life and Fireproof, and instead add, where is it? Ironclad. Then I'll get rid of Stabilize, and I'll put Batteries Included, for instance. Get rid of Action Boy, and I'll use Evasive, and then get rid of Ricochet, and I'll use Serendipity. So this is my non-power armor build, and this is a good point that I'll mention now. You'll notice that I swapped these perk cards in because you can only use these specific perk cards when it comes to being in regular armor. You can see it very specifically says no power armor. In fact, do you notice now that Serendipity says no power armor? That's because you can't use it in power armor. So perk cards like Serendipity, which is amazing, it's an amazing way to avoid damage, or even perk cards like Evasive and Ironclad, and there are a few others, like there's one in Strength, where is it, if I can find it, Barbarian. Perk cards like that, which out of power armor, you can get even more damage and energy resistance. Like, you just can't do that in power armor. That's one of the benefits of regular armor, in that if you really want to max out your damage resistance, you can actually have a higher damage resistance in Secret Service armor comparative to the T-65 power armor. There is a little bit of a diminishing result, I guess, at the end of it. That's not the right word that I'm thinking of. Diminishing returns is what I'm thinking of. There are a bit of diminishing returns when it comes to increasing your damage resistance so high, but generally higher is still better as a general rule. But as you can see, my DR, and I'm not even using Barbarian, and I'm like, I want to use Barbarian for the sake of it. But now look at my DR, it's actually higher than the T-65, just because of those perk cards that I have that are bolstering it. But as you can see, my energy resistance and my radiation resistance are now lower. So you're not going to use this in a nuke zone, of course. You're not going to use this in a heavy radiated area. And it doesn't have that inherent protection that power armor has. And the energy resistance, I find I get way more crippled, not crippled in the sense of the game, but I find I get more damaged when I'm in Secret Service armor and I'm fighting, like, again, super mutants or robots. I find that they hurt me quicker and I die quicker just because of my resistance and the lack of inherent protection. So that's one of the downsides of Secret Service armor and regular armor in the game. Yes, the DR can be very good, but the radiation resistance and the energy resistance is lower. But then look at all the other benefits. I mentioned the perk cards that you can have, right? Then there's poison resistance. You can roll legendary pieces of armor that give you poison resistance. So as you can see right now, I have 25 poison resistance. Currently right now, there's no way of getting poison resistance for power armor. It's going to change, hint, hint. But currently there is no way. So when you're looking at the state of the game now, Secret Service armor is better in that sense because you can get a constant source of poison resistance. Of course, also as well, you have the ability to roll legendary pieces of Secret Service. So I have a full set of Unyielding, so that gives me a huge boost across all of my special stats except for Endurance. And this one gives me less limb damage, this one gives me a reduction to my ammo weight, and this one gives me a better AP refresh speed and less limb damage again. This one gives me a chance to reduce damage while sprinting, and there's a range of other legendary effects that are even better than the ones that I mentioned now, though I'm happy generally with my build. Again, another one that increases AP refresh speed. So Secret Service armor has that benefit of being able to have all of those legendary effects that specifically, of course, are going to depend on what your build is. Not everyone's going to have unyielding. Some people want Vanguard, some people want bolstering or whatever, but that's the beauty of it, right? You can roll different pieces of armor that are going to give you different benefits, and that's just something that you can't do in T-65 power armor. So that is a huge boost when it comes to Secret Service armor, right? And I mentioned backpacks as well before. I have an armor-plated Secret Service backpack that I can wear because I'm not in power armor. That gives me an even bigger boost to my damage resistance. It's literally by 90. Like, it's a really nice boost. And because I wear it, or you also have a high capacity one as well, and one that boosts your radiation resistance. Like, there's so many different mods when it comes to your backpack that, again, that's another benefit when it comes to Secret Service armor in the game. You have the ability to use backpacks. It's like, I can't understate how valuable those backpacks are. Like, there's some of them that reduce your carry weight when it comes to chems and drinks and whatnot. Like, there's so many options in that sense, which is another reason why people love Secret Service so much. So with Secret Service, not only are you getting also great stats when it comes to your resistances. Depending on your perk cards, it can be lower or it can be higher than the T-65, but you're getting great stats, you're getting legendary perks, you're getting poison resistance, you're getting the ability to use a backpack. That's why most people, I would say, that aren't heavy guns users are leaning towards Secret Service armor. So I will say, as a general rule, if you're not a heavy guns user and you just want to choose one armor to invest in, straight up, I would say the Secret Service armor is the one that you want to invest in, especially because of all the other modifications that you have, and you can use under armor as well. I forgot to mention, like, let's look at the modifications that I have. So I have Buttressed. I kept saying Buttressed in a previous video. It's Buttressed. So that gives me even more resistance. I've got Cushioned, which helps me with my 4 damage. Deep Pocketed, which gives me more carry weight. Like, generally you're going to have way more carry weight when you're not in power armor as well, so that's another benefit. Dense, which is also a great mod. There's a mod that allows you to prevent damage from the falling fire debris when it comes to Colossal Problem. Like, there's so many choices. And again, that's why I recommend that you go with the Secret Service armor if you're not a heavy guns user. If you are a heavy guns user, I would say that if you find yourself you want to fight the Queen a lot more, then there is a reason to get T-65. But also, power armor like the Ultra Sight has great resistances as well, as does the XO1, and you can find them a little bit more easy. Like, if you're doing a lot of Scorch Beast Queen runs, you're going to get plans for the Ultra Sight power armor really, really quickly. Like, they build up very fast, and even if you go to people's vendors in the game, you can buy the plans for pretty cheap nowadays. So even if you're a heavy guns user, like, I do suggest, yes, T-65 is great, it's the best power armor, but if you still want to have the ability to step out of power armor and still be protected and be able to utilize legendary effects and backpacks and all that kind of stuff, maybe stick with the Ultra Sight until you have the ability to complete your Secret Service set and then go to the T-65. I actually find myself nowadays using the Secret Service armor more because I have the unyielding legendary effects, so I have so much AP, so I can use VATS like a crazy man, and I can sprint for insane distances. So when I'm just generally playing the game, I will stick with Secret Service armor. When I'm fighting the Scorch Beast Queen, using my heavy guns, I will hop into my power armor, my T-65. When it comes to, like, Colossal Problem, for instance, I actually still prefer being in Secret Service because I can utilize Serendipity and just, like, VATS a little bit more because there are so many Wendigo spawns. I like to pop them off without needing to aim. So again, it depends on your situation. It depends on what you want to do in the game. It depends on your build. But I will say, as a general rule, if you have to invest in one, probably do the Secret Service armor, and then later on you can totally get the T-65 if you want. Like, eventually you're going to have enough gold to buy whatever you want, right? But Secret Service, I would suggest, is a really, really good choice for more of you out there. is going to be my conclusion. So now let's go fight some enemies, and I'll show you just the differences when it comes to resistances and just taking damage from different enemies. Okay, we're at West Tech right now, and I want to show you how the Secret Service armor performs against super mutants, and I'll make sure that I have my proper perk cards. I do. So just look at my health. And look at how I'm dealing with, because they have ballistic weapons as well as energy. So just have a look. Serendipity is activating right now. I'm using dodgy at the moment, so because I have so much AP, I'm actually taking even less damage in that sense. Let's see if we get a little bit closer and just look at how my damage does. I won't shoot or anything, but as you can see, I'm losing damage fairly quickly, especially when I run out of AP. And Serendipity, for whatever reason, doesn't activate. But I'm still pretty tanky. Like, I'm still not too concerned that I'm going to die. I did need to use a stim pack before, but I'm doing okay. Like, this is why the Secret Service is good. Almost died just then, right? So, let's get into the T-65 now, all right? And I'll show you what I mean when it comes to I feel a bit more safe in the T-65. Might have to kill this dude. And this guy chasing me with his bloody... come on. Yeah, he did. Alright, let's get into the T-65 now. So... I want to hop in here. And I will have to... I don't actually have to change my perk cards, but I'm going to. Just because I want to have the proper build when I do this. I feel like it's a fairer comparison. They are still shooting me. Crazy people. All right, so I will get rid of Ironclad. I'm going to put Fireproof and Rejuvenated because this would be my build. I'll get rid of Batteries included and just include Stabilized. Set a Barbarian. I'll just put Traveling Pharmacy just to help with my carry weight at the moment. Again, because Power Armor doesn't have the best carry weight. I'll put Action Boy because I need it to boost my AP faster because I don't have unyielding pieces anymore. Serendipity doesn't work, which is a bummer. So I will use maybe Ricochet for the time being, just so it's an equivalent of some sort. I think that's it. That's all I need to do. Yep, that's fine for now. I'm going to get my point across. All right. So now look at my armor when it comes to, my health when it comes to T-65, and just generally, I think it's going to reduce, not as fast. I'm going to feel a little bit more safer in my T-65 power armor. So let's look at this. So Ricochet is activating, Dodgy is still activating for me. But you see how it's reducing slower? Like the Secret Service armor, there are moments where it just suddenly goes to almost zero and you are like, crap, what do I do? But when it comes to regular, the T-65, I'm getting shot and it was reducing before, but it was not as fast. The rate, in my opinion, was a little bit slower. And that's why I feel way more protected in T-65. And again, it has higher energy resistance, so the laser rifle attacks wherever the dude is. Or did I kill him? I might have killed him. Do you have a laser rifle? Or you're constantly reloading? Whatever. Maybe we'll go inside and see if there's anyone with a laser rifle. But you can see what I mean, right? Like, it's reducing, but not as fast. I feel like I die less often when it comes to T-65. I'm really taking it now. I'm probably taking it way more than I did before. Let's go inside and get some laser rifle attacks and see the comparison. Alrighty, we're here inside now. A bunch of super mutants are shooting at me. There's a dude over here with a laser rifle too. And again, as you can see, I feel like I don't lose health as fast in T-65. I'm still fairly low, but if I was in Secret Service, I'd be really stressing right now. Now I'm going to use a stim pack. And the one benefit of power armor as well, I should mention, the stim pack usage is instant. It's way faster. So all these people are shooting at me and I just feel more protected. I generally feel more safer when it comes to T-65, especially against laser rifles. But yeah, I hope that gets my point across. I think both definitely have their place. I definitely think that even though the resistances can be similar, that power armor can still hold up very well in a firefight like this. But because of all the other benefits, legendary, effects, backpacks, all the things that I mentioned before, I would still suggest that most people aim for the Secret Service first. But look at how I'm surviving as a bloodied build with T-65 right now. Like, it's insane. It's ridiculous. So let's get to the conclusion of this video. I hope I was as clear as possible in this video. Alrighty, Wastelanders, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.